And if you want to make money, gold is really a good option right now. And I think Bitcoin at these levels, I mean, hold it at 30 with a lot of bullshit news. I mean, what was some of the news that was out this week, Danny? I mean, it wasn't just, Salvador and it's all over CNBC now, but, we saw some positive interactive brokers coming out, and we're seeing that hack where, people were worried, wow, how easily the government got the money back. Maybe this isn't decentralized. No, it is decentralized. We found out that they got money back, whatever. So you removed the overhang from Bitcoin going from 38,000 to 30,000 on the news stories, which really don't exist. It makes me think we're pretty close to the bottom, and you're seeing that today with, Bitcoin up 10%.
Yeah, I don't want to act like we know the exact workings behind it because we don't have all the data and stuff. So why did Bitcoin drop 10% the other day? I don't know. But to your point, it did seem like the media was pushing this narrative that, so we talked about this a few weeks ago, the Colonial Pipeline got hacked. Basically half of the oil and fuel for the East Coast was down for a few days. We even saw shortages here in North Florida because people were silly, but that's okay. We're over that. This all came back to in the media because Colonial paid ransom, and now the Department of Justice did a press announcement or press briefing and said, hey, we've gotten the majority of this back. So immediately you saw headlines about how they hacked somebody's wallet. Okay, and that's the big thing. Bitcoin is transparency, but it's supposed to be unhackable. And what actually came to find out is, and this is on Zero Hedge, and for all you listeners, if you're not checking Zero Hedge amongst your other websites, you should be. But basically, the DOJ, Department of Justice, had a subpoena for an exchange in Northern California, Frank. Mm-hmm. That's the United States of America for all you out there listening. Northern California. These brilliant cybersecurity guys apparently hacked the Colonial Pipeline and then put their Bitcoin in a custodial. It'd be like going on Coinbase, opening an account on Coinbase, buying some crypto, and leaving it there. Mm-hmm. If you don't think the IRS or anybody else can go to Coinbase and say, hey, give me your list, you're going to be in for a shocker someday. So if that's the reason why, which it very much looks like, that Bitcoin was selling off, if you believe in Bitcoin, you ought to be buying Bitcoin hand over fist at these levels. Because if that pushed it down 10%, that's a non-event. That's not even accurate to say that they hacked a wallet or anything like that. So you have to be more bullish on that, in my opinion, if you got caught up in the emotions behind that. The other cool thing, real quick, is MicroSailor, MicroStrategy. They filed for a $400 million offering earlier this week as Bitcoin was going down. They're raising more bonds to buy Bitcoin today. He talked about that a lot on stage, so I encourage you to go watch it on the YouTube replay. What happened when Bitcoin dropped, Frank? What did MicroStrategy do? They bumped the offering from $400 million to $500 million. Mm-hmm. That takes balls, right or wrong, depending on what happens. That's that. I have to. I don't know if they
actually bumped it. I mean, what happens?
Well, I guess, like you say, everything gets oversubscribed.
Yeah, I mean, you get oversubscribed, and then even when they announce an offering, they say, it could take up to an extra allotment. So, if you have a good offering and it's an interest rate, it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. If you have a good offering, they don't think MicroStrategy is going out of business, so you can get a good interest rate.
Absolutely,
they can raise as much money as they want. It's not necessarily people agreeing like, hey, okay, I want you to buy more Bitcoin. It's it's their balance sheet, and it is coming down a little bit. They're still up overall on a cost basis, but I'm not too sure if it had it like that reflection where, they're raising even more, but it's good for them because now I think he's putting the whole thing into Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure that whole offering, and it's even more now. But I got to tell you that I just think really quick on this last point, there is a big push by some very big institutions, investors to push Bitcoin lower. I mean, just the shitty news that's been coming out. Okay, if you're going to push it lower, it's overvalued. It's whatever you think governments are going to come in. I mean, the China news is total bullshit, right? Because China was never going to adopt them. They 2017 that they just regulated. They said no one could trade on crypto exchanges anymore. I mean, that was everybody knew that. I mean, China is not factored in, right? So everyone's like, well, China, the biggest market, they weren't factored in. Okay, they're not the biggest market. They're the biggest growth market, lots of people. However, when it comes to cryptos, no, there's other big markets. And then you see this hack news, right? Which again was bullshit. It's just people were saying that, wow, this isn't decentralized maybe. And Bitcoin, people who are really diehards are like, are you kidding me? And it turned out that was a BS story. But there's a big push someplace from someone or some institutions to really push it lower. And I think that I think they're done. I mean, what's the bearish case now that hasn't been mentioned on Bitcoin? I mean, it's, you have the Coinbase IPO and everybody's excited, and I get it. And, you had it at 55, 60,000. But now you look at Bitcoin conference where you had a lot of institutions, a lot of them asking questions. They want to invest in this. I don't know. It feels like a bottom. I said that to you yesterday. It feels like we're closing in on a bottom when 2 weeks ago, even a week, like a conference like this might signal a top. But just with this BS news that's coming out, if it's real, then it makes sense, fine. But these are like made up stories trying to push the price of Bitcoin down, and it's working for a little bit because there's a lot of leverage in the market. But I think you're really going to see it come back here.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I'm still waiting on. With the massive volatility, so we've talked about this in the past, this is good for, Galaxy Digital and Coinbase and stuff like that with the volatility. I'm still waiting on a big name to come out and say, Carl Icahn has flirted with it. There was articles about him putting up to $1.5 billion, $1.5 billion into crypto-related assets. Ray Dalio has admitted he owns it personally. We're waiting for Bridgewater, the fund he controls. The easiest thing, Frank, would be, if you're trying to come out of somebody's most amazing shadow, and I'm going Warren Buffett here, wouldn't it be awesome to see Berkshire Hathaway just hint at the new managers that are going to take over after Buffett and Munger?
It'll never happen.
I know, but still, it's fun. Let me dream, Frank. Quit shooting my dreams down right away, okay?
Yeah, just too fundamentally driven. But, what you're going to see is these guys load up on Bitcoin before they mention it, right? So
absolutely.
That's typical.
But that's what I'm waiting on. I think the short term, I think it's bullish with you. I agree with you on the fact that there's a lot of negative news and it's holding 30,000. I was actually surprised it didn't go back to its old high of 20,000 just because, anybody can pick a number out of the hat and draw lines on a chart. But I do want to see who's the big name coming out that is going to really move a market, whether it's a new CEO converting some of their balance sheet to it, or a hedge fund guy like Carl Icahn, or somebody of that nature. But somebody out there is taking advantage of this and going to make a lot of money. And there's still a lot of excitement going on in the space, and it will going forward.